Well, good morning, friends. This is Paul Lozick, and I am in Corpus Christi, Texas. Today is February the 9th, 2023, and I'm going to basically give you guys a quick update on what's happening with Same Boat Ministries and what you have helped us to continue to do in Venezuela. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to run through a series of quick. I've got a bunch of slides. There's no way really to be able to do this in any neat form or fashion because there's so much going on. So I've thrown together a bunch of slides. I'm going to talk about them pretty quickly and run through them. And I hope this whole thing won't be more than about 15 minutes. All right. But this is the only real way that I know of to be able to effectively update you as to what's going on in Venezuela. So here we go. Let's see if we can do this. All righty then. Let me see if I can get rid of this. So there's a lot of different projects going on through Same Boat Ministries, and we basically help to support what we call the Genesis Project, which is a nonprofit in Venezuela that we started back in 2016. And so the Genesis Project has developed a network of doctors and pastors and churches and has trained a lot of students over the last, oh, well, since 2016 when we started there at the Baptist camp. So I'm going to run through a list of some of the things that are going on that have been offshoots from all of the activity that's taken place there at the Baptist camp and what's come out of the trainings and so on and so forth. So the first thing is jail ministry. So Pastor Alejandro Garcia, about 4 years ago, had access to one of the federal pens, and he began to basically go in and talk to the prisoners. That has led to an incredible outburst of activity there at the federal pen, allowing him to talk, preach to prisoners, to talk and preach to jail guards, to the people that run the pens. This is a picture of him when actually the newspapers came in and said, "This is an incredible thing that you're doing, Pastor." He has now baptized people there in the jails. This room actually was a rundown, beat up, ugly room, and the jail allowed him to absolutely come in and fix it up. You can see he's fixed the walls, he's fixed the ceilings, he's put in an air conditioner. He holds classes every single week and teaches Bible principles. He basically has uh, a group of Christians now that are doing the same thing in the jail when he's not there. He prays with them, he helps them, he is involved with them and with their problems and with their families. Now, this is another pastor. This is basically Pastor Jose. He is a military uh, guy that has access to not the federal prisons, but he's a chaplain that is allowed to get into all of the state and municipal jails. They are much more run down, much more dangerous, much more scary in all senses. But he is able to get in and he is able to basically feed these prisoners. He's able to preach to these prisoners. He's able to basically deal with them and their problems and help them. He's really the only one that's going into these places. And so, water filters, I mean, water is a huge deal. They just do not have potable water in these places. So, we've been able through Texas Baptist Men to get water in to our water filters into these prisons. And there's a different filter we'll talk about in a minute called a biosand filter that the Genesis Project has been building through our director, Jose Luis Gonzalez, who is trained in this type of technology. So this is having a major impact in these prisons. These are really bad guys, a lot of them, and it's amazing. So your contributions, your prayers, your efforts from here have helped us be able to put together this jail ministry. So at the Baptist camp, we have been given 50 acres for 30 years, which is a miracle in itself. And we have been developing these 50 acres. Now, we really have development own actually 5.5 acres that are fenced. And we do it this way because our neighbors will come in and steal everything that we have day and night. So we've got a fenced area with dogs. There we develop gardens, fruit trees. We have animals. We have all kinds of different food production methods that we are teaching to basically students that come through maybe twice a year, sometimes come and stay with us for a couple of years. And this is a tractor that was donated by one of you, without which we could not be doing the work on these large sections of land. This is part of the acreage that we have outside the 5.5 acres. It's way too much for us to develop and manage on our own right now. Our team's too small, but we are able to plant areas of 5, 6, 7 acres at a time with sweet potatoes, watermelon, and all kinds of other products that produce food that we are able to share in the prisons, in schools, with churches, with pastors, with our own students. Um, there's a lot of activity going on at the camp all the time. It's actually too crazy to try to explain to you all of it, but this is what's going on. Jacobo Garcia, an amazing man who has been involved as a director of the Venezuelan Baptist Convention. He's been involved as the director of missions for the Venezuelan Baptist Convention. He's been a pastor of the second largest Baptist church in Valencia. He's a guy working with Indians down in the Amazon, down in the state of Bolivia, down in the jungles of the Delta Macuro. He's involved in so many different things, and he is our missions partner there at the Genesis Project at the Baptist camp. So we grow a lot of stuff. We produce food. This is what we're really all about, producing food, showing people how to produce food. This is the magnet. This is the bait that attracts people to us, allows us then to help bring down the barriers that separate us from different religious beliefs and some of the crazy stuff, the witchcraft, the sorcery, and other things. And when you have food, people will listen to you. When you have clean water, people will listen to you. This is William. He's a Warao Indian from the Delta Macuro, has been with us almost 3 years. I'll show you some more pictures of him later. So people come in, they learn how to develop skills, beekeeping. We produce honey. We deal with cows and goats and sheep and turkeys and rabbits and chickens. And oh my gosh, we're all the time having to learn how to do things because we don't really know a lot of this stuff. But we are able then to produce meat and cheese and milk and butter and all kinds of things which help in the ministries. And then there's this medical ministry. We begin shipping crates of donated stuff of all kind, a lot of medical stuff, a lot of medicine, a lot of very basic things that are contributed by organizations and churches and pastors and individuals. I mean, a crate like this can actually weigh anywhere from 1,000 pounds to 1,800 pounds. And these are sent by truck, and God sent us a company that actually allows us to ship this stuff to Miami for free, which normally would cost like $2,000 or more per crate. These people ship it for free, pick it up, send it to Miami. A month later, it's taken by ship, and a month later, it shows up at the Baptist camp. Here's our guys unloading it from a truck over there. And then after that, this goes out to doctor networks, nurses, people working in some really poor and beat up places around the country with people that have no resources, people that have no way to get any help. And this has really become a marvelous, marvelous ministry that we really, it's out of our control. We bring the stuff in, we have a network of people. They go out into the really difficult places and share this stuff with people, literally rescuing people's lives, helping people with medical issues that we would never, ever be able to touch. And these people are evangelizing while they're doing all this. They're sharing Christ, telling people about Jesus, and people are coming to know the truth. So this is a huge ministry that has sprung up that's something we never really imagined in the beginning. And it's happening now in 5 different states. Mentioned William the Warao. He came to us probably back in 2016 with a group of Warao Indians sent by a pastor who is since deceased. But here are some pictures of him. We sent him back to the Delta Macuro jungle where these people literally live. I mean, like primeval cave people back in the jungle, oftentimes with nothing really other than sticks and stones and what grows in the jungle. But William's visiting his family here. His phone isn't that good, so the pictures aren't that great. But he wants to take this technology of how to grow food, how to be self sustaining back to the Warao people because they are literally dying. They are, when they get sick, they have no help. When they are hungry. Their rivers have been polluted by people seeking for gold with mercury. The governments come in and force them off their land. I mean, there's a lot of terrible things happening. But William, one of our students, has a plan for going back and showing these people how they can live a better life. These are family members of his. We hope to have him back with two other Warao Indians in March. Here you see a water filter that he's taken back, and he's showing these people how they can use a 5-gallon bucket to purify water, because that's one of the things that kills them the quickest is waterborne infections that they take when they're drinking water. The students that have come out of the school there at the Genesis Project are now spread out all over Venezuela. They're also in Colombia, they're in Mexico, they're in Peru. There's the places I can think of right now. They're probably in other places, but we're in touch with a lot of them. And so we get a chance to go out sometimes using our vehicle to go to different states and work with the churches, work with the pastors, work with these students and doing feeding, evangelizing, teaching, sharing, providing, helping them build. This is a map that shows some of the places where we are. You can see up here, this is our home base right here where the star is near the city of Valencia. But we've got a Genesis camp called Genesis El Roy in Yaracuy. We've got a Genesis camp called La Nueva Jerusalén here in Aragua. We've got a, Genesis camp here in the state of Anzoátegui called Genesis Koinonia. And we're now already involved in starting a new one in the state of Trujillo in Boconó. And we're getting ready in February this month, actually, to send a team up to Mérida to train for a pastor named Simon Linares up there, who is working with about 17 different churches up in the high mountains of the Andes in the state of Mérida. So there's a lot of expansion. We do have requests from people. By the way, the Delta Macuro is over here where William Cooper is with the Warao people. And we've got some requests now from the state of Zulia over here, and we don't know how we're going to do that or when we're going to do that, but they want to train teams because they are working with Indians that are over here on the Colombian border that are really remote people that don't have a lot to do with anybody from the outside, but we've got an in with them because of the water filters. So anyway, so much for that. So we work with a lot of churches and a lot of places to go and help them build teams that can teach people how to plant stuff, how to grow food, how to work with animals. And all of this opens windows for evangelism. And so all of this is happening on an ongoing basis. Bible schools, Bibles. This is street evangelism. This is actually Jose Luis Colan, who runs the El Roy camp in Yaracuy. And he's one of our students that graduated after 2 years with us there at the camp. He's now running this other camp in Yaracuy. And so feeding people, helping people. There's so many children that are abandoned on the streets. Pastors like this one, we help them with sometimes money, sometimes food, so that they can feed these kids that are just literally running loose on the streets. And then, of course, we're involved with helping people learn how to drill water wells. We're not that great at it, but we do know the basics, and we help people learn how to do this. These are the biosand water filters. There's a secular group called CAWST out of Spain and Canada that trained Jose Angel Gonzalez, our camp director, prior to us meeting him back in 2001 or so, how to build these very effective water filters. So we've been doing this building these filters and then taking them to schools, jails, and other places, that's opened a lot of doors for us. And then we help people like with water systems, irrigation, buying these irrigation pipes, actually sometimes helping them buy a pump, which will pump water out of a river to irrigate their plants and their fields and different things so they can grow food. Here again, water filters, teaching people how to use these amazing Sawyer water filters donated by the Texas Baptist men. That's been such a blessing. It's probably saved more lives than we'll ever know about in this life. Um, the water filters, I mean, people are dying from contaminated water all over Venezuela. And then we've got Luis Guzman now up in Boconó working with these schools that we have a deal with them where they allow us to come in and teach Bible principles if we will teach them how to grow food. And so this is ongoing now in schools all over Táchira, I'm sorry, all over the states of Mérida and Trujillo. So it's again way out of our control. It's people that have learned have gone and they're teaching this in other places, and we're doing our best to keep up with them, support them. People growing food. This is a old tractor at El Roy camp. This is one of their fields where they're growing food. These are some of the students that we're teaching how to grow plants to be able to produce food at their homes and at their schools. And you can see Luis Guzman. Well, not doing too good of a job here, guys. Bear with me. You can see Luis Guzman back here in the back. He's our agricultural engineer that's doing a lot of this training. Now he's up in Boconó in Trujillo. And he used to be at the camp with us. So this is people spreading out, going to new places, teaching new people. This is Jose Luis Golan in Yaracuy, teaching people about basically composting and fertilizer and a lot of other things. So we just had a contribution from a number of you guys. This is a video. It basically shows the Baptist camp during a very dry part of the year from basically December through about June. There is no rain whatsoever. And this very, very green, flourishing camp turns dry like a desert. And you can see the Genesis area we're showing right now. That's us. And then what happens is during the dry areas, our neighbors start fires, the wind carries the embers, and you can see what it does to our camp. It catches the camp on fire. It threatens everything that we have. This happens for 3-4 months every year, and we have to fight the fires, and it's a lot of problems. So what we decided to do was to drill ourselves a water well so that we could begin to better defend ourselves against the fires. That building over there, by the way, is not there anymore. That roof blew away in a terrible storm at the camp. Anyway, so what we did was we started about 3 months ago with funding from an organization or several organizations that helped us to drill a water well. And this has been ongoing forever, it seems like, because there's been a lot of problems and New Year's and Christmas and all the different time off that people take. But the water well is now completed and all the work has been done and wires have been run and electricity has been stretched from 160 meters away. And so now we've got a water well. And so it's a huge blessing, and we're going to be able to do a lot with this water. So thank you for those who've helped us. And then, oh gosh, about 5 years ago, a Bible school or a Bible college out of Chichicastenango in Guatemala with Mike and Terry McComb asked us to come to Guatemala, and they have a Bible training course at different levels, and they asked us to represent them in Venezuela. So we started a Celsi Venezuela training in Venezuela. So now we've basically graduated over 50 students at the basic level, and we've graduated at least 20 plus students at the next level up. These are 2-year courses, so it's a really big deal. So these guys are all now certified to teach basic Bible principles, these courses to other people. So this is a huge deal. And so we're really, really proud. This is Francelis and Delia Lunar, who were here in 2015, and they have become the teachers on the island of Margarita. So we've got classes going on at the Baptist camp, and we got classes going on at the island of Margarita. And these students will be starting new classes in other places. So this is a huge deal. So that's basically the pictures I wanted to show you. I got thousands, so I had to limit it to just this. But basically, what does 2023 look like? Well, evangelism is the foundation of all that we do. But sometimes we have to help people first with hunger, thirst, pain, and other conditions that distract them from Jesus, from the truth, from the evangelism. And so we have to basically go in lots of times and help people with other things before they can actually stop and listen to the message. So we're training new evangelism teams in the Andes Mountains. I mentioned that up in Merida starting in February. We're developing a partnership with the CAWST group to build biosand filters because it's time intensive and it does cost money to buy the concrete and all the different stuff, the filters that have to be put into these things. And so they're going to help us fund that, but our guys are going to have to take the time to build a headquarters there for CAWST so we can get out more of these biosand filters, which opens up more doors for us at prisons, schools, hospitals, lots of different places, police stations, military, to help people hear about the gospel because they need the water filters, so they'll stop and listen. We're going to need to purchase a new vehicle for Genesis. Our current vehicle is a 2007 Dodge Dakota. It's got over 300,000 Venezuelan miles on it. Those are tough miles. And every time we go out with it, pretty much we got to expect that it'll break down. So we're working on getting a new vehicle for Genesis so we can continue doing travels to other places. We're going to expand our feeding network. We're going to expand our medical network. That means sending more crates, more food, more medical supplies, more things to Venezuela to be able to support the people that are boots on the ground out there in these different states. A window is opened up for Delia and for me after almost 2 years now to actually get Venezuelan passports, which would allow us now to travel freely back and forth. We've not been able to do that for a while because all the embassies, all the consulates closed down here in the United States. And basically what that's all about is there's people in the passport office there for money, and it's a lot of money, will basically deliver us new passports. So we're working on that right now. We need to build a new facility to house up to 20 people there at the camp because right now we're still working out of basically horse stalls that were given to us back in 2016 at the camp, and we need better housing for people. And then we're going to continue to train and support our students that are working in the states of Aragua, Anzoátegui, Yaracuy, and Carabobo. And of course, we're expanding now into Trujillo and into Merida, possibly into the state of Zulia. We don't know when that'll happen. And we have requests from other places in Venezuela. So you guys pray for us. Thank you for your support. It's, let me stop this share. We obviously are amazed continuously that God would continue to allow us to be part of what he's doing in Venezuela, but we do understand we could not do any of it without your help. So we want to thank you and just bless you. Thank you so much.